All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Um, this morning's talk is a Christmas message, and I want to begin by wishing each of you a blessed solstice and a holy and sacred Merry Christmas to you and to your loved ones. When we look into the origins of Christmas, of the chosen day that we celebrate the birth of a great spiritual master who came to enlighten humanity, the birth of Jesus, we realize that this birthday's closeness to the pagan celebration of the winter solstice was by design. Um, the winter solstice, which actually begins tonight at midnight, has been celebrated for many thousands of years as a rebirth of the sun, as the start of a new solar year. And it goes back to the Roman Emperor Aurelian. He established December 25th as the birthday of the invincible sun in the third century. He established this as a formal holiday of the invincible sun, S-U-N, sun, and as part of the Roman winter solstice celebrations. And so the actual date of Jesus's birth was not known, but it was believed to be in the spring. And yet, the Christian church officially chose December 25th to celebrate the birth of Jesus in the year of 336. And in no small part because it was already an established annual celebration to honor the sun, the growing of the light. For me, as I was writing this talk this week, I was going to write a Christmas talk, but I just kept on wanting to write more about the solstice as well. And I find meaning and inspiration and significance in both celebrations, in the winter solstice and in the celebration of Jesus's birth. You know, for me, one is about being attuned to the natural world and the wisdom that we gain in that. And the other is about being attuned and practicing the teachings of the great spiritual master Jesus and the wisdom that we gain from that, the enlightenment that we can achieve from that. And so I want to examine today how both of these celebrations have meaning for us in our own lives in this moment in time. The winter solstice is the longest night, usually falling on December 21st or 22nd. It's the longest night in the northern hemisphere. And it's an astronomical event that humans have honored as far back as the Stone Age, around 10,200 BC. Stonehenge is this mysterious prehistoric monument. I'm sure some of you may have visited there. I'd love to go. I haven't been there yet. But you see pictures of Stonehenge, and it's in the south of England. And it's this really mysterious, baffling arrangement of 100 upright, massive stones. And they believe it took people in that time 1,500 years to erect these massive stones. And there's a certain collection that is oriented exactly, perfectly to capture the frame of the sun at the winter solstice sunset. And in fact, this year they're videotaping this for people around the world to be able to experience it. I'm planning on tuning in. So, this celebration of the longest night, of the beginning of growing light, goes back at least 10,000 years. And a great part of why ancient people celebrated the growing light of the sun was because they were so deeply dependent on the sun, this amazing star that's at just the perfect distance from the planet so that we can have life and have it abundantly. The ancient people were acutely aware of their connection with and their dependence on the earth and the sun and the planets and the harmony of the natural world. And they saw the sun and the stars and the planets and the earth and all the earth's creatures as a part of the creator, not separate from the creator, but as a part of the creator. And they learned and they gained wisdom from the teachings that the natural world offered. There's a Ute prayer that says, Earth, teach me quiet as the grasses are still with new light. Earth, teach me suffering as old stones suffer with memory. I walk every day in the wilderness, and the earth teaches me. It teaches me to be present so as not to miss the beauty. It teaches me to be alive in my senses, to smell the fresh, crisp winter air and the pine scent. It teaches me to be still because so many animals are tucked into their hibernation places and many birds have flown south. The woods are so quiet and they make me quiet. And the earth and the sun teach me about the rhythm of life, the seasons of life, and the stars and the planets. I go out every night and I gaze at the stars before I go to bed for a little while. And they teach me to stretch beyond my little world and all its thoughts and concerns and realize there is such a vaster reality, such a great and grand mystery to contemplate with wonder, with awe. So the teachings of the natural world can enlighten us. And this winter solstice is particularly auspicious this year as Jupiter and Saturn conjunct tomorrow night. They've been getting closer and closer. I hope you've been out there watching them. And the fact that they're conjuncting on the winter solstice has not happened in 800 years. So it's very auspicious. And tomorrow night, hopefully it'll be clear. And I hope you'll go out right after sunset and look into the southwestern sky. That's where you'll see it. So the moment that we're in right now is an auspicious time for humanity. And it has been for thousands of years. And our ancestors before them spent this time praying and preparing and fasting and meditating and drumming and purifying and doing ritual and welcoming the growing light. And not just in the outer world, but very much in the inner world, in the inner self. Interestingly, the word solstice is a Latin word that means sun standing still. Someone wrote that December is an invitation, a time when, if you get quiet enough, you hear God say, please come closer. Please come closer. Come closer. We can come closer to the light of our own being. We can find the light we see in the Son and in the Son of God that Jesus was in our own being. For we too are sons and daughters of the Creator. I have always loved St. Francis. I was really sad when both my St. Francis statues burned in the fire, in the campfire. But I feel such a kinship with the spirit and the essence of St. Francis. I know many of you do too. He was a Christian mystic, and he was also so attuned to the natural world. And I think, in a way, he's a bridge between the natural and the nature loving solstice tradition and the Jesus loving Christian tradition. And the brief story, if you've ever watched Brother Sister Moon, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie for right now. But the brief story of Francisco was he went through his own dark night of the soul. You know, he was an ordinary man. He liked to party. He liked material things. He came from a wealthy family. And then he went to war and he saw the horrors of war. And then he was captured and imprisoned for ransom. And when he returned back to his town, he was changed and he had no taste for that old life of excess and materialism. And he had turned really inward, you know. And people thought he was kind of crazy because he had a mystical experience, a spiritual awakening through nature, especially through nature. And through discovering that the creator was in all things. He heard the creator in the singing birds and in the animals and in the sun and the moon and all the natural world. So I would like to read to you something he wrote, that St. Francis wrote towards the end of his life, called the Canticle to the Sun, S-U-N, Sun, the Canticle to the Sun. All praise be yours, my Lord, through all that you have made, and first, my Lord, brother Sun, who brings the day, and light you give to us through him. How beautiful is he, how radiant in all his splendor. O you most high, of you most high, he bears the likeness. All praise be yours, my Lord, through sister moon and stars. In the heavens, you have made them bright and precious and beautiful. Be praised, my Lord, through brother wind and air, and clouds and storms, and all the weather through which you give your creatures sustenance. Be praised, my Lord, through sister water. She is very useful and humble and precious and pure. Be praised, my Lord, through brother fire, through whom you bring and brighten the night. He is beautiful and cheerful and powerful and strong. Be praised, my Lord, through our sister, Mother Earth, who feeds us and rules us and produces various fruits with colored flowers and herbs. Be praised, my Lord, through those who forgive for love of you, through those who endure sickness and trial. Happy those who endure in peace, for they will be crowned. Saint Francis honors the creator in all of the natural world in this canticle. And he speaks of the sun first. He feels that the sun has the likeness of the creator. And he sends out blessings to those who are during sickness and trial, which is so relevant for us now. You know, when we hear of our friends and when we hear of people across this country right now in intensive care units and in hospitals with COVID, we send out blessings, we send out healing prayers. So, St. Francis, he's a wonderful example of someone who both loves nature and celebrates the celestial sun, and who also celebrates the birth of Jesus, a different kind of sun, the Son of God. And to me, it feels appropriate to compare Jesus's life to that of our celestial sun, because he brought so much light into this world. You know, when he said, I am the light of the world, he was showing us there's an inner light. There's a light of consciousness that can shine like a million suns and can transform humanity into their fully realized divine potential. Jesus's core message was, as we read in John 14:12, very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do. In fact, will do greater works than these, because I am going to the Father. I am going to merge into the I am, and I will be available as a frequency of the highest vibration. And when Jesus said, you know, the one who believes in me, I believe he was saying the one that believes, if they follow my guidance, if they live as I am living, if they imbibe these teachings, these enlightened teachings, they too can and will be a light unto the world. I was thinking that I miss our sanctuary at this time of year. I always love the manger that Chyla sets up with so much care on our sanctuary stage. Um, and I was thinking, how does the story of Jesus's birth in the manger have personal meaning for us? And I found this quote by Meister Eckhart, German mystic. He wrote this in the 14th century. What good is it to me if Mary gave birth to the Son of God 1400 years ago, and I do not give birth to the Son of God in my time and in my culture? To give birth to greater inner light, to more embody the daughter of God that we are, the Son of God that we are, it requires an inner listening, and winter is made for that. I feel like the Great Spirit is always whispering, please come closer. Please stop doing. Sit down. Take some centering breaths. Open your heart. Relax your busy mind and get still. This is how you give your greatest gift. This is a season of gift giving. It's a tradition. We love to give gifts. But our greatest gift that we can offer is giving ourselves to God, is taking Jesus up on the potential Christ in us, awakening, blossoming. St. Francis said, it is in giving that we receive. And I don't think he was just talking about things. I don't think he was only talking about giving to others. Perhaps I've been meditating this week on, perhaps he was talking about giving ourselves to the Creator, Open hearted, I open my heart to love. Open minded, I open my mind to peace. Purified of negativity, purified of judgments, purified of anger and resentment and irritation. Quiet inside, a finely tuned instrument of peace. When we can offer ourselves like that, we receive so much grace, so much grace. Um, it was hard to decide which Christmas carols to sing. I kind of wanted to sing Joy to the World today, but the words in that particular carol, let every heart prepare him room. Let every heart prepare him room. I love that line. And I think that this particular Christmas, after 9 months of lockdown, and still, being in our little hibernation modes, this is custom made for offering ourselves to God. We don't have the distractions. There's not all the parties. There's not all the shopping. There's not all the Christmas concerts. And so, gift giving is great. And I found my brother his favorite coveted Pink Floyd tour T-shirt that he wanted, and that was fun. But I think that if Jesus were here in our Zoom meeting this morning, I think he would share that teaching that he shared with Martha and Mary when Mary just wanted to sit at his feet and just imbibe his teachings and merge in his light and consciousness. Whereas Martha was just wanting to be the hostess and keep the house in order and do all the doing. So I think that Jesus's message would be that same message to us. Stop all the doing. It's not about being a great host or shopping or presence. It's about the presence of God within you. It is calling you to come closer, meditate and pray and be still and serve others and forgive. That's how we open our heart. So we can prepare a room for the highest consciousness in our hearts. We can prepare that manger within, so that greater love is born in us. And not just at Christmas, but every day. That is the work, that is the spiritual journey. Paramahansa Yogananda wrote a beautiful book called The Second Coming of Christ. I always feel like yogis really understand spiritual masters. They really understand them. And he wrote this book, The Second Coming of Christ, that he believes, as Unity believes, that the second coming of Christ is the collective Christ arriving in you and in me and in humanity. And this planetary alignment that's happening right now, that's peaking tomorrow night with Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting, some people believe this is what the Christmas star actually was, a planetary conjunction. And this arriving of the age of Aquarius, this very auspicious time, offers tremendous grace. And so we want the inner room ready for the most holy visit, the consciousness of Christ. Yogananda wrote a Christmas prayer that I really love. I want to share. He says, "O beloved Spirit, supreme love, divine, nothing else matters but that thou art with me, thy consciousness, thy spirit, thy love. My only wish is that thy love shine forever in my heart, and may I be able to awaken thy love in all hearts." I remember one of my favorite Yogananda chants I learned many years ago is, "Door of my heart, open wide. Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Will thou come, just for once come to me. Night and day, I wait for thee, night and day." That's how we prepare him room. That's how we call. That's how we receive the Christ consciousness. We long for it. We ache for it. We pray for it, and we open to it. Unity looks upon the manger scene in a metaphysical way. And the inn represents the intellect, and there's no room in the inn. And the manger represents the heart. That is a humble place where love is born. Charles Fillmore said that in the Bible, a star always represents the possibility of our own Christhood. And so may this celestial event that has not happened in 800 years, maybe it's the Christmas star. Uh, Maybe it is the Christmas star for the second coming of Christ, for a collective awakening, a critical mass of humans preparing room in their consciousness through all the spiritual practice we've been doing all along and the purification to receive and stabilize on this planet a higher frequency, because that's what Jesus came to do. He stabilized a higher frequency on this planet, and now it's our time. It's our time to grow that frequency, to expand that frequency, to raise it collectively. The spirit and consciousness of Christ can be born in you and me, and in our country, and in our new government. So be it. And all over this entire world, to give us the vision to work out our problems and create the greatest good for all people. It begins with each of us. We sing, "Let there be peace on earth," and let it begin with me. So, in closing, may this be the most beautiful, holy, and blessed winter solstice and Christmas of your life. May it be so. I love you all. God bless. Merry Christmas.